Beginning, the burning skies, I was never meant to meet her. The day the dragon clans returned to Earth, the world above our heads burned crimson. I was an inspector assigned to the Sky Harbor border, one of the few humans permitted to ticket or fine off-world travelers who violated atmospheric flight codes. Most of them paid their fines silently. But that afternoon, when a scarlet-scaled dragon ship roared through the clouds and shattered a dozen security drones, I found myself face-to-face with her, the dragon warrior of House Raylan. She was magnificent, silver armor polished like molten moonlight, eyes bright with internal flame. Her wings folded behind her like blades made of light. She landed so hard that dust rolled across the deck, and for a heartbeat the sensors thought an explosion had gone off. I raised my scanner and tried to sound calm. Unauthorized aerial maneuver. Damage to government property. You're being fined under Sky Law Article 42. She smirked, leaned closer, and her voice rumbled through the air. Fined by a human clerk? I nodded. By the book. Her laughter shook the hull. Then instead of paying, she tapped her bracelet and projected her ID sigil. Raylan Vexus, commander of the Celestial Vanguard. Even the system hesitated before printing the citation. That was when she said it. Half teasing, half challenging. If you weren't married, I would add my number. And in that single sentence, my world cracked open. Middle, fire and intrigue. Over the next week, her presence haunted the Sky Harbor. Raylan kept finding reasons to inspect the human control tower. Officially, she was checking on interspecies flight agreements. Unofficially, she lingered near my desk asking about human customs, meals, music, rings. Every time she looked at my wedding band, her eyes flickered, unreadable. Strange, she murmured once. In my culture, the bond is carved into scales, permanent, yours looks removable. I tried to keep things professional. My wife Alina lived planets away on the Luna colonies. Our communication delay was 9 minutes one way. We'd promised to trust each other through the distance. But Raylan's world was war. She trained beside dragons that could level cities. Her every motion carried power and sadness. When she spoke of her people's exile, driven from the stars by the void serpents, I saw the loneliness behind her pride. Then came the emergency. A black portal opened over the southern ridge. A serpent breach. The alarms wailed through the harbor. Raylan drew her sword, its edge humming with plasma heat. Stay back, human, she ordered. Instead, I grabbed an exosuit and followed her. Duty first. Or maybe something else pulled me after her through the flaming skies. The battle above the clouds. The serpent tore through the atmosphere like a storm made of bone. Its breath poisoned circuits. Drones fell like rain. Raylan's sword, wings unfurling, blades blazing. I fired stabilizer burst from my suit, keeping close enough to see her movements. Poetry written in fire. She dived into the serpent's shadow, carving scales apart with a single scream that became pure energy. But the monster struck back, tail whipping through the air and smashing her into a tower. Without thinking, I launched toward her crash site. The tower cracked under my boots. Smoke, heat, and her blood, silver blue, and filled the air. She tried to stand. I knelt beside her and locked my armor's field around her chest to keep her breathing. You risked your life, she rasped. I issue fines, I said, trying to joke. That's my job, she laughed once softly. And you're still married. We both knew what she meant. That connection forming between us was real, even if forbidden. Together, we triggered the harbor's fusion cannons. Raylan channeled her dragonfire through them, merging human technology with her power. The blast tore the serpent apart, scattering light across the stratosphere like shattered stars. When silence fell, she collapsed against me, exhausted but smiling. Ending. The choice beneath the ashes after the battle. Both our worlds wanted explanations. The Dragon Council demanded she return for punishment, fraternizing with a human using forbidden fire. The Human Commission wanted me suspended. Reckless conduct, emotional compromise. The night before her ship departed, she came to my quarters. No armor, just the faint shimmer of her scales in dim light. I should hate you for making me choose between duty and something else, she said. I couldn't answer. The air was too heavy with things unsaid. Finally, she reached out and brushed my wedding ring. Your bond kept you strong. That's why I wanted to add my number. To remember that kind of loyalty exists. She pressed a small crystal into my palm. It pulsed like a heartbeat. "If the sky ever burns again," she whispered, "break this. I will come." Then she left, wings slicing the moonlight, disappearing into the clouds. Weeks passed. Reports said House Raylan had been stripped of command. The harbor rebuilt. The world moved on. Sometimes when I check the horizon at dawn, the clouds glow silver, and I wonder if she's out there, somewhere beyond sight, remembering the man she once found. And every time the comm lights flicker with static, I almost believe it's her voice breaking through. "If you weren't married." Epilogue. The number that never changed. Years later, when the serpents returned, I broke the crystal. The skies split and a dragon's roar echoed over the cities. She came back, armor brighter, scars deeper. "Still married?" she asked, landing beside me. "Still finding dragons," I said. We stood side by side as the new war began, two beings bound by law, fire, and a sentence that changed both our lives.